President, who has deemed it fit to once again nominate me as a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. My pledge to Mr. President and Nigeria is that if I'm confirmed as a minister, I will redouble my effort in the service of my country to justify its confidence in me. Your Excellency, Mr. Senate President, there's only one small issue I want to draw your attention to in my CV. It's about my name. My name, as it appears on your CV, is my correct name, which is Lai Mohammed. Please don't believe what they say on the social media. They call me all sorts of names there. I used to ignore it until one day when my 7-year-old grandson called me and said, "Grandpa, tell me the truth. Why did they call you Liar Mohammed?" I looked at him. What do you say to a 7-year-old son? How do you explain politics to him? So I said, "No, don't mind them. They are the bad guys." He said, "You mean like Joker, like Bane, and I think another name?" I had no idea what he meant, but I said yes. Later, I found out that those names were actually the names of their cartoon bad guys. So I thank you very much, Mr. President and the distinguished members. I'm ready for your questions. Thank you very much.
Senator, motion.
Mr. President, the citizen at chair, distinguished colleagues, my name is Ibikunle Amosun. I represent Ogun Central. Mr. President, let me thank you. It gives me great pleasure to be given this opportunity to speak about Egbon Lai Mohammed. The gentleman in front of us needs little or no introduction. He's a lawyer. He's so many things rolled into one. But the one I will want to dwell on this afternoon is the fact that this is somebody that has selflessly served us as a nation. He has served our party. He's a very, very fiercely loyal party man. And you heard him when he was even talking here. He has carried the can severally. Governance is a very difficult job, and it's a thankless job. He's been vilified. You will hear a lot of things about him. But one thing you cannot take away from him is the fact that whatever assignment that is given, you will see him serving diligently, loyally too. So, distinguished colleagues, we have talked among ourselves here. I know my brothers from the northwest, from Kwara, they will feel that, oh, why are we saying this? But we met ourselves and we all agreed that Alhaji Lai Mohammed should be allowed, really. Everybody I know is a lawyer, tested, trusted. In fact, there is no discipline. There is no discipline that you will want to take him on that he will not be able to thoroughly discharge himself. So I don't think we should indeed begin to belabor and be asking questions. So he deserved to be asked to take a bow and go. He has done his bit and he will continue to do his bit. So let me congratulate you for well-deserved renomination. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Senator Aliyu Magatakardawa Mako.
Mr. President, serving as chair, I wish to concur with the last speaker on what affects the nominee before the Senate today. Can be said by instant as an achiever. As our spokesman for the party, he did excellently well. And as Minister of the government of our federation of this country, last 4 years, did wonderfully well, extremely well. So much so that I want to appeal to our colleagues to consider the service of this gentleman who has, what he has done, officially and privately, and allow him to take a bow and go. I so submit, Mr. President. Thank you. Thank you.
Senator Bamidele Opeyemi Michael.
Mr. President, seated as the chair, distinguished colleagues, I am Michael Opeyemi Bamidele, representing Ekiti Central Senatorial District. I want to thank you, Mr. President, for the opportunity to also contribute. And I listened to the first two speakers, my leaders, former governor, chieftains of the ruling party that has also produced me. And of course, what I would like to emphasize, Mr. President, is that the nominee standing before us here today represents two things that Nigerians will be happy to see. One, a litmus test to our distinguished colleagues from the minority parties, because more than anyone, Mr. Chairman, Alhaji Lai Mohammed was on the firing line as a politician, as a party man, as the spokesperson of the party. He managed a very difficult transition process, which for the first time in this country, changed a lot of things. The reason, part of the reason, Mr. Chairman, that you and I, and many of us here, can be seen as gentlemen by our distinguished colleagues from the minority party is because we didn't have cause to call them names. We didn't have cause to say anything to them. We would always, be friendly with ourselves. Because Lai Mohammed had to do the job for everybody. Sir, in the spirit of the new understanding, and what Nigerians have witnessed in the last 1 week on the floor of this parliament, there cannot be a better proof on the part of our distinguished colleagues on the other side than to encourage. Of course, if Alhaji Lai Mohammed said he had suffered some reputation problem in court, it was to be expected. And standing before all of us today, I know is an extreme gentleman, a gentleman of gentlemen. For 4 years, Mr. Chairman, I was privileged to serve with Alhaji Lai Mohammed under the leadership of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as governor of Lagos State. He was part of the blueprint that was developed for the state. And I tell you, sir, even in the next 20 years, it doesn't matter who is governor of Lagos State, you only need to be civilized and decent. There's a blueprint developed under the leadership of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu that will make anyone shine as governor. Sir, standing before us here is a brilliant gentleman. He was at the University of Ife, he had a second-class upper. He was at the University of Lagos, he had a second-class upper. He was at the Nigerian Law School, he had a second-class upper. He's a journalist, he's a lawyer, he's a party man, a party administrator. And as a public servant, he has done well. He also had to manage information, two difficult jobs. He managed information for a party that was struggling to take over. And managing information in a period of regime change is something that will not make anyone look good to the other side. And beyond that, you also have to manage information for a government that was coming to fight corruption, to do a lot of things. No, it wasn't an enviable assignment. But here he is, standing. I just want to say, sir, that President Buhari saw the need to compensate this gentleman by ensuring that, based on his academic qualification and his pedigree, he's offered a platform to serve in public service. And this distinguished Senate, 4 years ago, confirmed him. I am joining the first two speakers and providing a basis beyond being a gentleman to say this distinguished Senate found Alhaji Lai Mohammed fit and proper to serve in the cabinet of the government of this country 4 years ago. And today, even in the spirit of the new understanding, in the spirit of the bipartisan interaction that is in overriding public interest and in the best interest, of our nation, that I know at the end of the day we'll be proud and we'll be, in another 4 years we'll have something to show for what is happening here and for this new understanding. I just want to say that I join the first two speakers and let Alhaji Lai Mohammed take a bow and go. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Ahmed Sani Musa.
Mr. President, sitting as chair, my distinguished colleagues, I stand to eulogize Alhaji Lai Mohammed for being a true Nigerian. I came across Lai Mohammed when he was nobody, and I was struggling, and he stood by me. Personally, I want to use this opportunity to let my other colleagues know how compassionate this gentleman is when it comes to reasoning. Because I was detained, and while I was detained, nobody knew where I was. And my younger brother got to him, and he said, no way. He started pursuing this thing up to the extent of to the Undersecretary of African Affairs in the United States. And they intervened just because of this gentleman, and I was released. So I will want to use this opportunity to thank you, and thank you more for the job you have done to this country. There is no better information manager that will have managed the transition in 2015 than you, and you have done it very well. I wish to call on my colleagues to give this gentleman the honor he deserved by towing the line of my other colleagues that have spoken earlier, to tell this gentleman to take a bow and go. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Senators Ibrahim Oloragbe, Sadiq Suleiman Umar, Alola Ashurin Datoda.
Mr. President, sitting as the chair of the Committee of the Whole, highly respected distinguished colleagues, my name is Ibrahim Yahya Oloriegbe. I represent the people of Kwara State. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, let me start by appreciating every member of these chambers, particularly those who have spoken about who is a nominee here, and to appreciate and thank Mr. President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria for finding it worthy to nominate the nominee, and particularly to thank him also for recognizing our special need in Kwara by providing us and giving us 2 ministerial nominees, and for you, our colleagues, for supporting us on the 2 nominees. I wouldn't want to waste our time, and wouldn't want to speak on most of the public knowledge about the nominee Alhaji Rauf Olaiwola Muhammad. But to underscore